When you hear the word memorial stone, what's the first thing that comes to your mind? A tombstone, right? A gravestone. And we would use a gravestone now to mark a spot where our loved one is buried, right? But back in the day, they didn't only just use a memorial stone to... That's why in so many ways, you know, this is the beautiful gift of our creed. Our creed is a memorial stone. Our creed is a marker. Say marker.
Marker.
Everybody say our creed is a marker.
Our creed is a marker.
Can you think about that? Every time you declare the creed and you say, I believe in God, the Father Almighty, what are you doing? You're reminding yourself who God is and what God can do in your life. It's a reminder of what God can do. Amen?
Amen.
And you know what? That's actually a very practical thing to do in your life. To put markers in the significant places. Yes? Here's my answer. Peter also had a marker in his life. And you know, it wasn't a good one. Because if you remember, Jesus predicted and prophesied that Peter would even your mess is your marker. Can you tell that to your seatmate? Even your mess is your marker.
Even your mess is a marker.
That's right. Doesn't it encourage someone here today? Doesn't it give you hope to know that everything you do, whether it's good or bad, is just a marker that reminds you that God is faithful in your life? Even your mess can be your marker. But I want to close with this part. I want to preach that last part, the significance of what Jacob did when he took the stone, not just as a marker, but also as a resting place. Say resting place.
Resting.
This is a beautiful thought. Jacob took the rock and used it as a pillow for the entire night. Would you do that? Yes? A rock? Are you serious? Back in the day, that was probably a normal thing, but now it's just, you know, it's weird, it's painful. But that's what they did. But when you study it, you just love the symbolism. I mean, Jacob was probably just looking for a place to rest his head on, right? But he didn't know what we know now, the symbolism, because we know what Jesus and who Jesus is. And what Jacob didn't know was that he wasn't just resting on a rock. He was resting on the rock. He was resting on God, the rock of our faith, the rock of our salvation. That's why he encountered God at that time, right? You know who else rested on a rock? Ask me who. You must mahina pa. Who? The people up there on the second floor, ask me who. The Savior of the world, who was buried in a borrowed tomb, also rested on a rock. Before you clap. But what the world didn't know was that while Jesus rested on a rock, God was fulfilling a promise. And I believe that maybe some of you need to hear this message, because while you rest on God, you don't know that God is fulfilling a promise for you. That's the time that God is working on your miracle. When you put your trust and surrender to Jesus, that's when He's working the miracle in your life. Yes? Because sometimes that's what you need to do. At the end of the day, when everything else fails and you don't know what else to do, you rest on God. You rest on that rock. But why am I using that word rest when I'm talking about Jesus in that tomb? You want to know why? Get ready to celebrate in a few seconds. The reason why I'm using rest, that Jesus was resting in that tomb, because Jesus was dead. Jesus was only resting, waiting to be resurrected. While you rest on God, He resurrects you. Come on, did you hear me? While you rest on God, He resurrects you. So don't think for a minute that just because some things in your life are down, it doesn't mean it's dead. That relationship can still be restored. That sickness can still be healed. That broken heart can still be mended. Because in the eyes of God, nothing in this world is truly dead. It's just waiting to be resurrected. If you believe that, shout amen. Amen. I believe that God's about to exude some dead expectations here this morning. Dead dreams, dead promises. Mark it down. When you say the creed, it's a marker of how God has been faithful to you. So mark this day down. Maybe today is the day that God finally frees you from that addiction. Maybe today is the day that God finally frees you from that sin, from that shame, from that guilt. Maybe today is the day that you finally get to say, yes, Lord, I'm yours. So mark this day down. One more time, tell the person beside you, rest on God's promise.
Rest on God's promise.
Father in heaven, this is your word. This is life. This is the bread of life. And it's alive.
Beside you, God is around you, and God will speak to you through our feast builder, your leader, my leader, Odi Villaraza, and John Sealand, feast builder of Makati, Salcedo. The feast there is blessing so many young people, so many yuppies. That's my term, but I don't know what they call them now. But I don't know. But God is using him in a mighty way, and God's gonna use him today. You know, before we end our conversation on the creed, just want you to know that we need to live out that creed. And think about it. God's solution to the problems of the world. When you think of so many problems of the world, God has one solution. That's you and me. It's wild, I know, but he's thinking of the church. He's thinking of the community. He's thinking of the believers who believe in the creed and who live out that creed every single day. That is God's solution. And you say, what? Yep. I'm thinking of Ronald Rillera, friend of mine, contractor by trade. Yep, he remodeled my house. Beautiful. But when he's not doing that, he's building feasts in the most unlikely places. He and his friends built a feast in a drug rehab center. Lives are being changed.
Wala lang po yun, mga senior citizen. Tapos, but the rest, ay grabe, they have only one reason to go to the feast. Yun na yun. Maghanap ng jowa. Yun lang. Maghanap ng mapapangasawa. Kaya kung wala kang makita din sa PACC, baka nasa Makati ha, just in case. Kasi kahit ano yung mo dito, parang wala talaga eh. Anyway, so, I love saying that there are couples there, there were single people there who attends the feast, and then mag-isa lang siya umattend ng feast, kinausap ni Lord, ayun. Tapos meron din palang isa na kinausap ni Lord, tapos nagkakitaan sila, tell somebody beside you, I want you to be, welcome, sabi, I want you, mga ganon. So, ayun, tapos after 3 years, kinasal na po sila, ang anak na, galing. Meron din po doon, couple, boyfriend, atin ng feast, kinausap ni Lord, ayun, break na. So, amili ka na lang, di ba? Dali mo yung boyfriend mo doon, tara, kakausapin tayo ni Lord. And for those on Instagram, nakikita ko kay Brother Odin, ganda ng Instagram niya every Sunday afternoon. At wala lang, gusto ko lang sabihin na may Instagram din ako. And this is my fan. Magkano nga yan? 120? O sige. 120, sarado mo ng 120 ha? Ano yung 120? 120,000? Video? Then called another again, a photographer. Iba palang video sa photo. And photographer. Pero sabi niya, oh, besh! Ito na, besh! So yung mga photo, yung mga peg natin, may peg ka na. Game na yan, magkano nga ulit? 50 o 50 mo? Nasarado mo na ng 50 yan. 50. Then call up another again, her gown supplier, and besh! Ito na, besh! Propose sa siya, okay pa rin yung fit ko, yung pa rin yun. Nag-fitting ka na? Nag-compute po ako, grabe. And for the first time, I placed my hand over my heart. God will provide. And God provided. God provided. Right now, God continues to provide. He will always provide. He will always provide. Can you tell somebody beside you, He will always provide?
He will always provide.
kung may utang ka ngayon, put your hands over your heart. Mas lalo nakikinig sa TV ngayon. Sige na, put your hands over your heart. And may utang ka malaki, pakisigaw to, God will provide. Go!
God will provide.
Sino sa inyo may kailangang business na puhunan ngayon? Lord, kahit puhunan lang, Lord, please. Put your hands over your heart, please. Pagkasabi, God will provide.
God will provide.
If you're still single and you're over 40 years old and still hoping for the time for the person to come, put your hands over your heart or lay the hand of your person, the person beside you na single. Pagkasabi sa kanila, God will provide. He will always provide. Can we give the Lord a big, big hand? That's why your conviction is this. Defines who you are. Sino ka ba? Anak ka ng Diyos. May anak ba ng Diyos na mahirap? May anak ba ng Diyos na kawawa? Wala. Kaya natin yan. We are here. The creed is reminding us, you have to believe your Father. You have to believe that He always has a plan. Amen?
Amen.
Because if you don't believe, and if you think you deserve less, you're gonna receive less. Konting problema lang, ayaw na. Pagising sa umaga, ayaw na. Bukas, di ba, holiday? Yes! Tuesday, ayaw na. Pagod na ako. Pagising mo, kawawa naman ako, ng pera. Pagdating mo sa asawa mo, yung pa rin, kawawa naman ako, yung pa rin. Can you hold the hand of the person beside you, please? Pakisabi sa kanya, friend! Friend! Walang kawawa.
Walang kawawa.
Hindi ka kawawa. Hindi ka mukhang kawawa.
Hindi ka mukhang kawawa.
Ang lusog-lusog mo. Amen? May kawawa bang ganyan palusog? The problem is this. If you think you're kawawa, if you think you deserve less, little problems will cost you a lot. Nagkukulong ka sa kwarto, tapos kukuha yung cellphone mo, tapos mag-propose ka. Ito, true story ito, mga post ito ng mga servants ko sa Salcedo. Nakita ko lang, sabi niya, isipin mo yun, yung aso alam yung salitang stay, ikaw hindi. Grabe! Next week, iba naman yung post niya. Same person pa rin. Next slide. Nabibenta po ako ng gamot. PM ka lang, may nararamdaman ka sa akin. Ang lala, di ba? Tapos isa pa hinaman pa. Sabi niya, ano, pakimong gusto kita. Hindi gumanti ka. Ganti ka! Today is Sunday. Tomorrow is Monday. Choose me. O, di ba? Dahil buwan ng wika, lupit talaga nito, sabi niya, sariling wika ating mahalin, pati ako, idamay mo na rin. Nag-gets niyo ba? Mas low kayo talaga. Pakihawakan ng katabi. Pakisabi sa katabi, huwag kang ganon.
Huwag kang ganon.
You deserve the best. Amen? I believe in God. Number 2, I believe in Jesus Christ. I love what we talked about last week. Na Matthew, it says, therefore go and make disciples. The next slide na yun. Go and make disciples. And you make disciples of all nations, baptizing them. But I want you to look at the key words. Next slide. Go and make disciples. God is asking you to do something. Jesus is asking us to do something. And whenever He asks us to do something, there's a promise. He will always be with us.
Wala dyan spaghetti. Bihon lang na dyan. Try mo nga. Nandito kami ngayon sa MOA. Advance order.
Pwede naman kami morning para ito. Ready. Advance order na tayo, sir.
Kahit ano. Okay lang kahit ano. Di ba, te? Di ba, te, pangarap mo yun eh? Makapamowa. Ayan na, nakapamowa ka na. Kakatapos lang namin attend ang The Feast. And nandito kami ngayon sa Manhattan. Nag-aantay ng matawag para sa food namin. Nag-aantay sa ano? Anong inaantay mo? CR? Lagayin pagkakain lang sa taas. Lipat ko. Palitan ng ano, pwesto. Damo ng duwate, hindi Ryan magkaparty. Beng. Nag-advance order ka na? Nag-advance order ka na? Sabi si Raw, hindi niyo na naman ako sinama. Tita Bing, bad na naman to sa imo. Tofu. Tofu with chicken and corn. Sarap ba? Masarap ba? May tofu yun. Tofu. tofu, and spirits. Masarap. Spirits. Spirits. Masarap. Manibi, kulang. Kasi, para sa inyo, hindi man ang ganun eh. So,